Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining today's session where we'll be covering new use cases in Cloud Dataprep, data pipeline, and new connectors. We're super excited to share what's new for Cloud Dataprep, and in particular, two new additions. A ton of effort, thousands of hours of hard work and of engineering have been dedicated to release what we think is the ultimate and most advanced data preparation solution ever designed for the cloud. I am Bertrand, Cariou, Product Marketing Manager for Cloud Dataprep. I have been with Trifacta for the last 5 years. I have a long background working in the data and analytics space as a practitioner and with software vendors. I am delighted to co-host this webinar with Sean Ma, Product Manager responsible for Cloud Dataprep. Sean, you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. Thanks, Bertrand. Hi, my name is Sean Ma. I've been with Trifacta for the last 6 years. As Bertrand just said, I'm the product manager for Cloud Dataprep. I've been working with Google Cloud on this joint product for many years since the very beginning. Over the last 4 years, it's been our privilege to watch how Dataprep has grown and helped solve data challenges for many types of users, whether they be data analysts, engineers, or scientists. Thanks to tons of feedback from the users, we really hope that we've been able to listen and channel that feedback into some of the new capabilities that you're going to see today. With that, let's get started.
Thank you. So here is the agenda for the next 25 minutes. We'll be first covering Cloud Dataprep journey, which started 4 years ago, as you just said, Sean. And we have achieved a lot through that journey. Especially we learned new use cases such as cloud analytics modernization, marketing analytics, pricing optimization, retails analytics, or even manufacturing analytics. We have released two new editions to support all these new use cases, and Sean Ma will cover them in the details. Sean will then go over a demo so you can see what the new editions look like. After a quick recap, the session will be open for questions that you can submit through the chat, or also you can request one-on-one meeting session with our experts in the next couple of weeks after the session, you watch the session. So let's get started then. So before we deep dive in the new capabilities and the new product, I wanted to review in a couple of minutes an overview that will be for most of you maybe a refresh, but I want to go back to the background of Cloud Dataprep. So Dataprep is developed by Trifacta in partnership with Google Cloud. Trifacta as a company and as a product is the recognized leader in data preparation. Trifacta also offers solutions that run on other cloud platforms. It runs also on its own Trifacta SaaS or on-premise. So you can really select the version of the product that fits your needs. Cloud Dataprep on the Google Cloud is the serverless and only native Google Cloud data preparation solution as part of the broader Google Cloud Smart Analytics Suite. Cloud Dataprep allows data analysts, business analysts, data engineers, and data scientists to explore, clean, and prepare big data visually. As you can see on the left of the screen, Cloud Dataprep connects to BigQuery, cloud storage, Google Sheets, as well as traditional databases and cloud apps. At the center, you can see that Cloud Dataprep is built on top of Dataflow. What it means is that any data transformation and cleaning rules that you design in Cloud Dataprep is pushed down to Dataflow and can easily scale to transform any data, big or small. Now, focusing on the right part of the diagram, once your data is ready in BigQuery or cloud storage, you can analyze it with Google Cloud Data Studio or Looker. You can train machine learning models with Google Cloud ML services, or you can even get insight from other partner BI solutions such as Click or Tableau. Now, if we just focus on the bottom of the screen, Cloud Dataprep is a native services to Google Cloud. It provides APIs that you can leverage with other Google technologies such as Cloud Composer, through APIs to schedule and to orchestrate Cloud Dataprep, or leverage Cloud Functions, for example, when a file arrives in Google Cloud Storage, you can trigger a Cloud Dataprep flow. So this is a summary of an overview of Cloud Dataprep and where it fits in the Google Cloud. So now let's get to the core of this presentation. Thanks to tremendous adoption since 2017, by over 100,000 of users, we're able to capture requirements for new and advanced use cases. This results in the launch of 2 new Cloud Dataprep editions, the Standard Edition and the Premium Edition, that support new use case, more flexibility also in the pricing that we can offer. So Cloud Dataprep is now based on a fixed project basis pricing, which you can try for free. So you can really start free with Cloud Dataprep to try out these new features. You can also get now direct access to Trifacta support, trainings, and professional services. With Cloud Dataprep Premium, you now have advanced connectivity with Google Sheets, databases, and cloud applications. Sean will cover in the details and demo it. There is also new data pipeline capabilities with a brand new job orchestration workspace with task sequencing, alerts, webhooks, advanced API to integrate Cloud Dataprep with broader analytic applications. And you've got also data processing optimization and data flow for even faster performances. Cloud Dataprep also gets some options for fine-grained permissions management for end users. Sean will deep dive in a few seconds on all these capabilities. So Cloud Dataprep Standard and Premium are available now. You can see at the bottom of the screen the link you should bookmark is you just go to the marketplace, the Google Cloud Marketplace, you search for Trifacta, you'll find it. However, Cloud Dataprep is also still part of the Google Cloud Console that you know best. So you can sign up on the marketplace or on the Google Cloud Console. So now I'll hand it over to Sean to go over the details of Dataprep Standard and Premium. Sean, it's all yours.
Sure, thanks. So I'm going to cover 4 categories where Cloud Dataprep is either new or significantly improved in both the existing product as well as the new standard and premium editions. So the first area we're going to cover is our new self-service connectors, which allow us to easily access all your data from within Dataprep itself. While native GCP connectivity to various sources and targets has always been there, you don't always have your initial starting point of data in cloud storage or BigQuery. A common example of this is Google Sheets, which businesses use as a primary method for collecting and sharing data. Typically, they want to combine this data with tables in BigQuery or standardize it against files in cloud storage. In this case, Cloud Dataprep's goal is to provide the same familiar search experience that Google Drive has to these same users so they can easily find and import that data set directly into Dataprep without any additional configuration. As a bonus, there is no limit to the size of data or the number of sheets that you can import. For example, in cases where there are new sheets being added to a single G Suite document every day, you can configure Cloud Dataprep to automatically pick up all these new sheets and add them to the existing data source without having to make any changes to your recipe. In other cases, users need quick access to a handful of sources typically found in traditional databases. So either to do a lookup or maybe fetch the latest delta of data that's available in the database itself. This is where the new relational connectors such as Oracle, SQL Server, Postgres, just to name a few, come in handy, as well as application connectors to Salesforce, make it easy for you to grab all the necessary data from a single interface by just simply selecting from one of the existing connections. Last but not least, BigQuery continues to be the primary source and target for a majority of the Dataprep users. And we continue to make key improvements in this area, such as automatic column filtering, which is a huge performance gain because what it does is automatically prune some of the columns that you aren't using, so you process less data and the whole result comes back faster. On the flexibility side, we now allow custom SQL datasets, which means users can create their own standard SQL statement and actually import that and use that as the data source itself. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. As users build longer recipes and continue to combine more data sources, we've seen the size and complexity of their data prep flows increase dramatically. Thanks to vocal feedback from our community, we've revamped the Flow UI for improved productivity. Now you can drag and drop your recipes, your sources, and even your outputs into customized layouts, and you have easy access to common transformations like union or join directly from the flow. The addition of email notifications and webhook tasks allow you to configure who and how you want other users or services to be alerted when data prep jobs are completed. This can be configured to start immediately after a job has been completed successfully, where you can send an email, or in the case of failure, maybe you need to notify a downstream system. Whatever use case best fits your needs, we should be able to support that. A big development is the addition of recipe parameters, which allow you to make a recipe behave dynamically based on inputs that are inserted at job execution time. This is critical for sharing and reusability, where one user creates a common piece of logic that can be used by many others. Users can achieve this by defining recipe steps with parameters that change the logic based on the input. A common example is financial calculations, which often need the latest currency conversion rates to be passed in at the time of run. And so now you can do that without having to modify the recipe at all. And last thing to note, in order to round out reusability, we've made it much easier to import and export flows across projects. This makes it much easier to jumpstart a new initiative by simply migrating a copy of your flows and recipes to another user so they can start getting started with data prep from there. A flow by itself is not always enough. Sometimes you might need to chain together multiple flows, or you need to combine them with external services so you can achieve your end-to-end use case. That's why we're introducing a brand new visual interface, Cloud Dataprep plans, that orchestrate multiple tasks within data prep. Not only can you visually design the sequence of tasks, but you can actually monitor their execution status and their outputs. This comes in handy whenever one flow depends on a earlier flow to have run completed, or you need to run a command statement or a SQL statement before running another flow. Coming soon, you'll be able to trigger these plans based on various external events, like the arrival of a new file or an external API call. Then you can build conditional logic to decide which set of tasks you want to execute next. We also know that many users already have existing data pipelining tools that are used in production today. So we wanted to provide flexibility with Cloud Dataprep to integrate into those existing workflows. This is why we've extended the work we introduced last year with Cloud Composer and Dataprep's job execution APIs by adding brand new APIs to fetch profiling and recipe metadata directly from Dataprep. These APIs were designed so that you can leverage key metrics generated from the Dataprep job, such as data quality results, directly into your external tool through the same workflow tool of choice. Okay, we got one last category, but maybe it's the most important one. Security and governance. We've seen the adoption of data prep grow significantly across multiple teams and departments. As a result, these teams have higher demands in terms of their security and governance requirements to meet this broader environment need. Security has always been top of mind with data prep, which is why we've extended our native integration with Google IAM to now add fine-grained data access permissions within the data prep project. Security has always been top of mind with data prep, so building on our native integration with Google IAM, we've added fine-grained data access within each data prep project. Now teams can control individual data set access through a combination of Google IAM roles, as well as BigQuery and cloud storage access rights. This also applies to G Suite, where you can import sources like Google Sheets. Now, when a shared Google Sheet is imported into data prep, the same access rights that were granted in G Drive are now applied within data prep, which means only users who are authorized to see and prepare that data are the ones who are going to access it. Lastly, networking has been the other major part that we've been improving in terms of security. And the goal is to support a much wider range of configurations that you've set up within your IT environment. This includes custom networks, private IPs, shared VPCs. So in the latest edition, you'll see many new options that are available when you run a Cloud Data Prep job in Dataflow. you've always been able to run a job in different regions from different data centers around the world. But in addition to that, now you can specify things like a custom VPC network name, subnetwork, custom service names, labels, and you can even fine tune some of the execution parameters for the data flow job itself, such as workers. Okay, and with that, let's get into a brief demo for a few of these key capabilities that I just covered.
Start with the new Cloud Dataprep by Trifacta listing that's now available on the GCP Marketplace. As you can see here, it's got lots of information about the two new additions that are available. So you can go ahead and purchase new projects for standard and premium, or you can upgrade an existing project. Once it's purchased, you can then launch the product from the left-hand nav by scrolling down to the big data section and selecting Data Prep. From there, it'll launch you directly into the product, and you can see which edition you have based on the logo up above. In this case, it's premium. Now what I like to do is actually take an existing flow and augment it with some of the new capabilities we just talked about in the presentation today. So with that, I'm going to click on this particular flow, customer activity and retention, and open it. Inside, you'll see this flow here, which has got an existing recipe and output. In this case, it's got an Oracle source, which is taking accounts activity data, and then it's running a recipe that cleanses that activity data and outputting it out to BigQuery. What I want to do is augment this recipe with data from Google Sheets. In this case, I've got account contact information in Google Sheets. Here, you've got various columns of information inside of that. What I like to do as a part of this is make sure that the data is cleansed and I can capture all the data inside. You'll see here that I've got multiple sheets of data, week 1, followed by week 2. So that's why I want to pull in. And just to make sure that everything's up to date, I'm going to ahead and just make a quick modification here, make that change. So I now know this is the latest one. It's been saved to my drive. Okay, let's go back to Cloud Dataprep. Now I add this to my flow. I click on add. You can see here all the various data sources that are supported, GCS, Google Sheets, BigQuery, and several relational systems that are now available. Click on Google Sheets. I typed in part of the name inside there, July 2020. Boom, the account contact info, the one I just modified just now is available. So I can go ahead and import that. I'll just click there. It's importing into this. So it's doing two things. One is checking to make sure I have the right permissions and right access for this. In this case, it's mine, so that should be easy. And it's also making sure that it captures both sheets. In this case, the two sheets there, as in this case, two separate data sets. During dataset creation, I chose, instead of making them two separate data sets, I want to combine them into one data set. This is handy if you have more sheets coming in the future. So now it's acting as one data set. I'm going to hit save. And now I'm going to import that into my flow. Okay, now we've got that data set imported in my flow. You can see the details inside of this. I want to combine it. I can do that easily by just clicking append join to this particular recipe. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure that I'm selecting the correct data set to join. In this case, account contact info. I'm going to hit accept. And it's going to go ahead and join through this. I'm going to skip through a couple steps just to make this demo go a little faster. But now that it's successfully joined, I can see it there. Just for ease of understanding, I'm going to reposition this so it lines up with my other sources. All right. So now for the most part, I've got most of the data that I want inside this. Let me go check my output. Yeah, I've got destination that correctly set, in this case, to BigQuery. And I want to add an action after this particular job is completed running. In this case, I am interested in kicking off a cloud function that will analyze the output from a successful job run. To do this, I will go ahead and add a new webhook task that executes after the job is complete. Let's take a quick look at the cloud function by pulling it up. It's a simple function that calls a scoring model against account data. I'll quickly grab the trigger for that particular account scoring model, take that, and I'll go back to data prep. So now when I create a webhook task, I can give it a quick name, account scoring. And I will just paste the exact same URL that I got from the trigger. I'll choose that I want this to happen on judge success on any particular output. And finally, I'll pass in the headers. Let's go ahead and test that first. Just make sure it's working. Okay, good. I triggered it against Cloud Functions. I'll hit create. Okay, now I have my webhook test there. Let's finish this off by actually running the job. You can see here in the run job view, you can choose to profile your results. Again, checking that I'm outputting to the right location. Then I'll set the correct region that I'm running from. In this case, I'm saying I'm going to run from Europe. So I'm selecting my data centers and which machines I'm interested in. Now showing you the new capabilities that we added, like customizing your VPC network mode, if you want to choose private IP addresses, and if you want to go further and set your auto-scaling algorithms, you can inside here as well. That all looks good. Let me click Run Job. And with that, the job should be kicking off. As a recap of this scenario, this job will read data from Oracle and Google Sheets, join them in a single recipe, and cleanse the data. The output will be sent to BigQuery, and a Cloud function will be triggered to run a scoring algorithm on that data once a job has completed successfully.
Thanks, Sean, for walking us through the demo. That was a pretty comprehensive demo, and it gave us a pretty good idea of what Cloud Dataprep Premium can offer. To summarize, and before we wrap up, here is what is new with Cloud Dataprep. First, Cloud Dataprep now comes in 2 editions. So you get the Standard Edition, the Premium Edition, and on the right, you can see all these capabilities from a high-level perspective, and in italic, the ones from Premium. Secondly, Cloud Dataprep now offers a fixed project-based pricing. Okay, so you define the number of projects you want, and you get a pricing per project. However, you can still start free Cloud Dataprep. In addition to the Google Cloud console, where you are used to start and sign up for Cloud Dataprep, we now have an option to sign up for Cloud Dataprep from the Google Cloud Marketplace, and it offers more flexibility to customize the pricing based on your usage, such as the number of projects, or if you want annual or multi-year upfront subscriptions. You get also additional direct access to the Trifacta support, direct connection with experts in Cloud Dataprep. Last but not least, you can get specialized training and services packages to get your data preparation teams and projects on track for fast and successful delivery. Well, all these additions, Cloud Dataprep is getting to a really new level of excellence to make sure you can cover all your data preparation initiatives with the flexibility you need. So before we close up, I wanted to give like a few links that you should try. And in particular, we've got a good white paper about 5 lessons we learned to adopt self-service analytics in the cloud. So you'll get to understand the end-to-end Google Cloud Smart Analytics platform and how to automate data warehouse, big data initiative, or data lake, and where Dataprep plays a role, and how you need to follow a few tips to really be successful. Sean, I wanted to thank you for presenting with me today.
Yeah, thank you, Bertrand.
Okay, and thank you everyone for attending. Stay safe, everyone. Thank you, and goodbye.
Bye, everyone.